This RSBANDB update nibble originally aired on RSBANDB update 736. Take a sigil, leave a sigil. Enjoy. That first question is a hard one to deal with because I don't think you can simplify top-end PvM, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, without going back to what it was like before EOC.
Yeah, I don't even know what that would look like other than like removing remove Solak from the game. Like I don't think that's really an option.
All the different mechanics. Like I can make this real simple.
Okay.
There should be more intermediate steps on the way to the highest level PvM. Introduce more bosses with gradual mechanics, bringing people up to that level. I don't think you should ever make people come down. If they are achieving that, then that's good. And not everyone can do that. Not everyone should do that.
You hit the nail on the head, because that is one of the number one rules I think we see in online games, especially living games, is that you don't nerf. You buff and you slightly adjust to make things not necessarily overpowered.
Yeah. Because if I can, I can't even really do next, right? But I'm pretty satisfied with what I can do. I can do God Wars 2 and stuff like that. Is that the greatest money in the world? No. Is it just enough mechanics for me to feel like I'm, doing RS combat? Yeah. And I don't want David to have to come down to my level because I'm not good enough to do Solak with him. That might happen someday if I ever need, I don't know what I get. If I ever need the Reaper title or something, I'm like, David, can I go hide in the corner, please?
My team just took Pern yesterday to get his Reaper title from Solak.
See, that's awesome. But, you get what I'm saying. Like, it's better for me to have more steps, more rungs on the ladder to learn than it is to make David come down and there goes all of his talent, all of his skill. Why? For what?
Yeah, I think that the Elite Dungeons are a pretty great stepping stone in between God Wars Dungeon 2 and top-end bosses. I do think that perhaps there ought to be something in between God Wars 2 and Elite Dungeons. But,
is that Araxor?
Oh, goodness, I'm not sure.
Araxor is so far beyond my ability. So.
Yeah, Araxor I think is at least as hard as Elite Dungeons. If not slightly harder. It depends on your perspective. But the thing about bossing in this game is that it really is, even for the very best people, it just requires a ton of trial and error, I think. And it's like it is overwhelming if you're starting fresh. But I think something to keep in mind is that a lot of the top people have been around for all of the new developments, like 4-ticking or increased number of action bars or switchscape as a part of invention. Yep. And it's important to remember that all of us were terrible at those things when they first came about. And the reason we have an advantage is because we were able to do it a little bit at a time. So I forced myself to learn full manual by doing Slayer tasks in full manual. But I started off horrible at it. My DPS went down. I could barely do anything. When I was doing Araxor full manual, I would switch to Revolution for Phase 4 because I could not both pray flick and do full main. I was like, this is impossible. Whoever can do this is a wizard, and I don't trust them. And it was just like hours and hours and hours of practice and dying and failing. And then Invention came around, and I had to learn perk switching, and that took a ton of time. And then flanking came out, and I had to learn how to do a flanking switch, which was super, super hard. And then we started doing conch blast switching, and then we started doing 4-ticking. So it was like each time a new thing got added, I was really bad at it at the start. And so it's hard when you're trying to add all of it at once. But if you just break it down and just learn it a little bit at a time, then I think you'll find that it's actually not as daunting as it seems. It's only daunting if you try to eat the whole cake in one bite.
And I think that's where Tycho is going with this, because he's saying, he's saying that a lot of those groups won't allow you the benefit of learning because you don't know it, you don't get it. You don't know it, you can't play with us. You know,
that's certainly true. And honestly, like I don't know. Sometimes I do things with learners, and I'm willing to go with learners, but sometimes I want to, play with friends who are all really good. And
right.
I guess I don't know. Maybe I should feel bad about it, but I don't feel that bad that sometimes I want to do a boss with just people who are the best at it.
Oh, I completely.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're supposed to be enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like crapping on other people, then I say go for it.
Yeah, I wish that it was easier to. For a little while there was that Friends Chat boss school. I'm not sure if it's still around. But I wish it was easier for learning opportunities. I wish there were more bosses kind of in between God Wars 2 and Elite Dungeons in difficulty. But I think the thing is that a lot of people have this idea that everybody who's good at combat just started off that way. And it's like hundreds of hours of work and effort to get to a high level. Like, I don't know anyone who is good at it right away.